Curious about how Arlecchino kits and talent works? What's her best artifact set and which theme composition suits her the most? You'll learn about everything as we proceed further into the video, so make sure to watch till the end and get as much information as you need. So before getting into the video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. GG is watching. So let's start the video now. A very important aspect of Arlecchino is in her passive talent, which replaces the related exploration passive. In her combat, she gains a 40% pyro damage bonus, but more importantly, she can only heal through her burst Bale Moon Rising. Moving on to her ability, using her elemental skill attack, she dashes towards the enemies to cleave them with pyro damage and applies a blood depth directive mark for 30 seconds. Every 5 seconds, this mark would deal 1 instant of very low pyro damage. The dash also has considerable range, which is helpful for closing the gap versus enemies. By using her charge attack, it will absorb any mark present, each granting her the bond of life, which worth 65% of her max HP. If a directive mark lasts for 5 seconds, it will upgrade to blood depth to mark, which now give her a bond of life worth 130% present of her max HP. If the enemy with a mark is defeated by any teammate, she can still gain bond of life worth 130% of her max HP. Moving on, let's talk about what artifact stats we need to build Arlecchino. Attack or elemental mastery for vape or melting. Make sure to not give her more than 200 to 300 elemental mastery, a pyro damage goblet or an attack goblet, which can be viable depending on other damage or attack buffs. And at the last, a crit rate or damage circlet. Now comes her normal attack. The higher her bond of life is, the more damage her normal attack will do. Every normal attack she does reduces her skill timeline by 0.8 seconds. But if we also consume 7.5% of her current bond of life as you use her attack. Moving on to her elemental's burst. Arlecchino's burst is one of the sickest burst animation. miHoYo has improved a lot whether it's about characters, story quests, their designs, their kit and burst. Moving on, during the burst, it will absorb marks that are still present on the field, which will give her bond of life. After the animations end, it deals AoE pyro damage. A big chunk of this healing will get absorbed first by the bond of life, then her actual HP. This is the only way to heal her. To help her make a tank tier, A and Assertion 4 passive gain 1% of all elemental and physical resistance for every 100th attack she has in excess of 1000. The maximum resistance increase she can gain this way for each is 20%. Now let's talk about her gameplay. First, you open up with her skill, then switch to her teammates to set up their buffs. Once all of their buffs is in their place, you can switch to Arlecchino, use her charge attack to absorb the buffs and get the bond of life. Then use her normal attack to maximize the damage. Remember, the higher the bond of life is, the better damage she deals. Now let's come to her talents and check which one should we prioritize first. So when it comes to leveling up her talents, the number one priority should be her is normal attack talent, as this is the main damage source since it boosts her buff state. Then you can level up her skill and burst to increase damage. To level up Arlecchino, you need materials, which is now available in the new map of version 4.6. You need 46 of Legatus Golem, 168 Rainbow Roses, and the Fatui insignia. Now let's talk about her constellations. At C0, she has no innate resistance to interruption increase during her buff state, so it's better to dodge or have a character in your party, for example Zhongli, because getting hit in mid combo is a distraction or might fall because she can't be healed by anyone except herself. At her C1, Magic Cube of Red Death is further enhanced, the value of increased is 100%. Additionally, Arlecchino's interruption resistance is increased during charge attacks or normal attacks, which is not available at C0. You must first unlock the passive talents Agony Unknown may be rapid. Because blunt depth directives are now already blunt depth due which first applied. When Arlecchino absorbs such due, she unleashes Bale Moon Blood Fire in front of her, dealing 900 of her attack as AoE pyro damage and increasing her elemental resistance and physical resistance by 20% for 15 seconds. This effect can trigger once every 10 seconds. Her C3 increases the level of her normal attacks. Her C4 makes her successfully absorb a blood-tipped directive. Pale Moon Rising's CD will decrease by 2 seconds and 15 elemental energy will be restored to her. Her C5 increases the level of Pale Moon Rising by 3. At her C6, both her normal attacks and elemental burst gain 10% increased crit rate and 17% increased crit damage. This effect can be triggered up to every 15 seconds. The next topic we are going to cover is the artifact sets. Her best artifact set is the new 4-piece Fragment of Harmony Whimsy. This artifact set is only made for Arlecchino since it gives attack and a stackable damage bonus, when the Bond of Life changes maximum out at 54% damage bonus. If you want to maximize her potential, you should farm for this set, but since it's out on yesterday, so it will take some time to get the perfect artifact you need. The second best 4-piece artifact set that will boost Arlecchino's damage is Gladiator's Final, as it gives both attack bonus and normal attack damage bonus, and normal attacks are Arlecchino's damage resource. Moving on to her weapons, the best F2P 3-star weapon for her is White Tassel, as it gives 401 attack and 23.4 crit rate. Low base attack can be compensated by Bennett. The best 4-star weapon for her, which can be obtained by buying Battle Pass Deathmatch. It's a great since it gives bigger crit value and attack. The best 5-star weapon suitable for her is her signature weapon, Crimson Moon's Semblance. With its primary substats, it gives 674 base attack, and in the secondary substats, it gives 22.1 crit rate. Now let's talk about the final and the last topic of this video, in which we will know which team composition are the most suitable for Arlecchino. The first team we are going to talk about is Vaporize team. Arlecchino, Yelan, Bennett and Zhongli as a shielder. As with most pyro characters, Arlecchino greatly benefits from vaporized reactions and has excellent sunrise with strong off-field hydro and bladers like Yelan. Arlecchino primarily focuses on normal attack at a suitable pyro application speed. For those without access to Yelan, characters like Xingqiu or Freyna can be considerable. However, since Arlecchino cannot be healed by any other characters, Xingqiu's minor healing may not be very helpful. Though his damage reduction can still be useful, Yelan on the other hand has higher damage modifiers than Xingqiu, benefiting the team overall damage output. Freyna's synergy with Arlecchino is also not optional, as Freyna drains HP from the team, which conflicts with Arlecchino's Bond of Light mechanics. Nevertheless, pairing Freyna with Bennett, who can heal the rest of the party member, can still make it work while having consistent hydro application. Bennett is one of the best characters to pair with Arlecchino in most team composition, as he significantly boosts Arlecchino's attack, which scales with her damage multipliers. Additionally, Bennett provides pyro resonance and more energy particles. Party with Sasek Bennett can perfectly utilize him with Arlecchino, as she does not have any drawbacks for added pyro infusion, while in Bennett any bendel burst field. Lastly, Zhongli serves as a good option to mitigate added damage from Arlecchino. Although he cannot heal her directly, Zhongli can reduce the resistance of opponents and provide additional buffs to the team with artifacts like Tenacity of the Millilith. As such, if the field is set up for her by utilizing the other team member's kit before swapping to Arlecchino, she can remain on the field for extended duration of time. Now the second best team with Arlecchino is the Overload team, which contains Arlecchino, Yai, Fischl and Shavros. For players interested in trying out optimal but different teams composition than the popular vaporized reactions, for pyro characters, the Overload team can be quite fun to experiment with, especially with access to Shavros at high constellation, while this team composition is more limited as it can only consist of pyro and electro. With Shavros and Arlecchino occupying the pyro slots, Players have several electro characters to choose from based on their preferences and availability. For those seeking strong sub DPS options that do not take much on field time will long off field skill durations, Yaimiko pairs well with characters like Fisher. Apparently, players can swap either of these characters with Raiden Shogun or Beidou depending on their preferences. It's worth noting that if players have Chevros at her sixth constellation, the party limitations become negligible as she functions similarly to Kazuha for Pyro or Electro Elementals specifically. This allows for another reaction to enable instead of overloaded, opening up more flexibility in the team composition. Now the last team composition is Arlecchino, Xiangling, Bennett and Kazuha. While not as high in DPS output as reaction-based team composition for Arlecchino, a monopyro setup with well-invested jungling or Kazuha can be quite competitive. This is because Arlecchino doesn't require elemental mastery or specific elemental reaction to boost her damage, as her self-buffs are related to her normal attacks and pyro damage. In this team composition, Bennett serves as the primary support for Arlecchino for some reasons to his in the Vaporized team, Kazuha complements this setup by further enhancing pyro damage and reducing enemy elemental resistance with the Resident Variant artifact set, ensuring consistent pyro applications on enemies. For the last slot, Xiangling excels as a sub-DPS option, leveraging her high DPS potential with her elemental burst. Bennett role as a battery charges also help mitigate Xiangling energy requirements, ensuring consistent burst uptime. Players without access to Kazuha can substitute him with Sucrose, especially against fewer weak monsters. This allows Arlecchino to fit into more F2B oriented team composition, with all other characters being 4-star characters, especially Obtains, some of which are even obtainable without relying on gacha. So that's it for today's video. If you're still watching this video, thank you so much, and I have a request. We're so close to reach 100 subscribers, so please subscribe. And if this video gets more than 1000 views, I promise to upload a video about explaining the Genshin lore and to traumatize new players. Just joking, I won't do that. I love you all. Mwah. Instead, I will make a video about every mistakes the new AR do and what are the ways to prevent them. And I want to tell you guys my experience of 1 year for what mistakes I did, so I don't want you to repeat the same process. So see you guys in the next video.